I suppose we should probably start getting through these story quests, because they're starting to pile up. Oh, Navia, probably the person I was least excited for in this lineup. Braving the Tides Together, Rosa Multiflora Chat. Why do they even pick these names? They never make any sense. Shimmering Memories. One day you were stopped by a familiar voice while in the Quarter Fontaine. Yeah, but the point is that I'm rarely ever in the Quarter Fontaine, but okay. I will do that just for the sake of the story quest. Navia! What are we doing? I don't even remember what your story quest is about.
Up and away.
There were birds here. I knew there were birds here.
Well, if it isn't my dear partners.
That voice. It's Navia.
I didn't expect to run into you guys here today.
Neither did I.
Are you headed somewhere?
Not particularly. Oh, that's actually what it is. No plans particular.
How about you, Navia? Are you still busy rebuilding Poisson?
We've wrapped up most of the rebuilding, but there are still a few things left to take care of.
Are you going to elaborate or just leave it at that?
Stocking up on materials, confirming construction timelines, discussing compensation terms with families affected by the disaster. Between all of that, I've been making a lot of trips between the court and Poisson.
Why are they getting compensation? I don't mean to sound, harsh and cruel, but it's not like in a current day and age where you have insurance, where you get that. Or someone's at fault, so the government is issuing compensation because someone fucked up. This is just, there was no avoiding what happened to Poisson. It was just gonna happen regardless. So why is there compensation being issued? I just don't quite understand the technicalities of this world, clearly. Wasn't Spina de Rosula affected too? Should you really be the ones offering compensation? Yeah, that point.
Well, though the victims have received relief payments from the court, in my opinion, as the administrators of Poisson, Spina di Rosula should take some responsibility as well.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I know not everyone might agree with my particular point of view, but I find responsibility is very much connected to fault in this particular circumstance, or this type of circumstance. You take responsibility if you are at fault. If you did something wrong and this is the outcome, then you take responsibility and then you would pay out. You don't take responsibility in such a situation when you're not at fault.
Our financial situation
Especially when they got a payout from the government,
best,
like she said.
All we've been doing is signing agreements for the damages to be repaid at a later date.
The government, or literally you said the court issued, I don't know what words she used, but they issued, relief payment. What more do these people want? Where do they think this money is miraculously going to come from the Spina de Rosula?
Though just pieces of paper now, they demonstrate our commitment. They're necessary to restore the people's faith in us.
Why? Did they think you were magically capable of stopping a magical bit of water from killing everybody and destroying the property? If so, they're stupid, and you probably want to kick them out.
Oh, spoken like a true president. You're a really responsible leader. That must be taking up most of your time, though, right?
Oh,
I
you
don't get tired as
bet.
president.
Between that and all the other errands I have to run at the court, I'm always forgetting one thing or another.
Have you considered making lists like the rest of humanity?
So before I came over this time, I took a page from Elusa's book and decided to make a list of everything. This way, it's easy to see which tasks you haven't checked off.
Well, obviously, but why does it have to be so special that it's a page from Elusa's book? It's like, dude, isn't it common sense to make a list? And then?
And then, since Malus loved using shorthand, I decided to also follow his example and come up with some shorthand of my own.
Yeah, shorthand, it can be faster, but I find that it's really hard to learn. I tried teaching myself shorthand back when I was in high school. It's not an easy language to learn. Because all the symbols and dashes are all bloody similar. And that seems like a bad idea because you want to be able to understand your list at a glance. And if it's in shorthand, it takes longer to understand.
But after running a few errands in the city, I'm kind of struggling to even read my own handwriting anymore.
Yeah, that just sounds like a stupid move on your part. I do not feel sorry for you at all.
That does sound like you, all right. So what kind of shorthand did you use?
Does it matter? It's hers. We won't be able to read it.
Oh, want to take a look?
We're still not going to be able to read it.
Let Paimon see.
Congratulations, Paimon. Welcome to the art of shorthand. Although I wouldn't really call them symbols.
This looks like a piece of kelp wrapped around a stick.
What?
And this other one, is it supposed to be a boar in a box?
Navia, you do understand that the point of shorthand is to make it quicker to write, right? The fact that you're supposed to take sounds and eliminate, like, 4 letters and put it just as one tiny little line or a symbol or a dash or a swirl. That's the point of shorthand, to make it super quick. Shorthand was designed for note-taking, FYI, for like minutes and stuff, or like for, what's the word I want to use? It starts with D. Dictation. So you're meant to be able to write it very, very, very quickly because you're abbreviating sounds, essentially. So why is she making complex symbols like kelp? I mean, this is Paimon's definition, of course. Kelp round around a stick or a boar in a box. That sounds like more time consuming than just writing the damn word.
The first one has to do with confirming the final payment amount for the fisherman.
Okay.
While the second one is a reminder to try the new burger that just hit the market.
So in place of a meat patty, you put a boar. Wow. Okay.
Okay, Paimon can definitely see how you might forget what each of these mean.
Maybe just use standardized shorthand symbols next time.
Thank you for your advice.
It's only advice. It's common
These
sense
are the
again.
kinds of things you only really figure out once you've tried them out yourself.
No, logic and reason would tell you that this would happen if you just stopped and thought about it for 2 seconds. But you never stop and think, Navia. You just do. So, yeah.
I thought that as long as I understood my shorthand when I came up with it, I'd be sure to remember the symbols when I looked at them later. Unfortunately, I've definitely proven myself wrong.
It's either you've overestimated your own memory skills and intelligence, or you're just arrogant in your own beliefs. Take your pick, Navia. Neither are a flattering look to you. Hey, she's got pearls on her hat. I didn't even notice that before.
Well, now you know for next time.
Yeah.
Anyway, I should have already taken care of most of the things on the list. There are still a few symbols that I can't decipher, but I don't think they're anything too super important.
Was the list written in an order of importance or just randomly?
Worst comes
Could
to
help us
worst,
decipher it.
I'll just make another trip.
I mean, you're not wrong. Sucks, but you're not wrong.
So you're going to head back now?
Yep, that's the plan. Oh, actually, since we talked about the reconstruction earlier, want to come with me and check out the town for yourself? You said you don't have any plans, right? So we can just catch a boat and head over. It won't take long at all.
It's a bit sudden, but Paimon doesn't see why not. What do you think, Traveler?
I think that I don't like spontaneous plans and changes to plans, and you should be, organizing this for a week in advance. It'd be interesting to take a look. It'd be a pretty nice break too.
Then let's go. We'll take a boat over.
Now, the question is, do we actually have to take a boat over, or are we just going to fast travel? Now, what is with all these bloody jumping children? There was 2 here, and then somewhere, I think around here, there's this jumping kid who may or may not be like a newspaper salesman. Why do the kids only have a jumping animation in this game? You don't just walk past children IRL and watch them all just bob up and down like that. It's not how children work.
You mean the Aquabus, right? Like the Clementine line?
Do we ever hear of another line other than the Clementine line?
Oh, sorry. I meant our own boat. The Aquabus doesn't have a station near Poisson,
Could've told you that.
We'll use one of the Spina's boats.
Sure sounds good to me.
All right, follow me. I'll take you there.
You're gonna fast travel me, right? Yeah! How do you get to it?
The engineer is still doing
There's
a
a
few
gap.
routine safety checks. We can head out as soon as we get the green light.
Okay.
So, Paimon has always wanted to ask. The 3 Aquabus lines are all named after people in your family, right?
Wait, what? When did we ever get that piece of information?
Yeah, that's right. Callus and Navia are self-explanatory, while Clementine was the name that my mother went by.
Okay. To be fair, I don't even remember any of the other lines other than Clementine, so it's unsurprising that I didn't really know/pay attention to the fact that there was a Callus line and a Navia line. Seems that Rasul is one of their main sponsors for construction, right?
If you provided the Mora to build the lines, then why isn't there even a dedicated line to Poisson?
Because nobody goes to Poisson.
Spina di Rosula built all the lines, yet you still have to take a special boat just to go home. Paimon doesn't get it.
Well,
Don't you like your privacy?
What I heard is that most of our businesses don't actually use Poisson as a hub.
Yeah.
So there was no real reason to build a line straight to Poisson.
But I thought also the point of Poisson, it's why you built it like underground in a cave, is because you wanted your privacy. Having a train line going to your home doesn't exactly scream privacy.
You are right that it is a bit strange, though. If you've already committed to build 3 lines, why not just add a 4th?
Yeah, that's what Paimon's saying. The Aquabus is so convenient, it's really a huge shame.
I've used it, what, twice in my life? And that's it?
Well, it is what it is. You know what my father was like. Even I often struggled to figure out what was going on in his head.
Well, wait, so it was only built during your father's time? Really? Haven't been built for long then. Well, something that big also wouldn't have been just his call. Perhaps the rest of the Spina didn't see a point to having a 4th line, or have the funds
but
for it.
that would only be the case if he cared about what others thought. My father was always really stubborn. Once he made up his mind, good luck getting him to change it.
Yeah, well, see, my point, though. What if they couldn't afford it? What if they didn't have the excess funds? I mean, building I was going to say a train line, but it's a train line. An aqueduct line, it would be very expensive. And plus the upkeep finances.
From what I've heard, the rights of all the other members of the Spina only went as far as giving him advice or suggestions, and no farther. That included my mother, too.
Huh. Well, that explains why you weren't on the greatest of terms with him.
Yeah, because I wouldn't just let him keep getting his way. He was just... not very agreeable.
Boss, the boat's ready. We can head out.
All right, then let's head out.
Are you jumping to the boat? I'm not jumping to the boat. Get me a gangplank, damn it. Braving the tides together. Act 1.
It'll be a while before we get to Poisson. Let's keep talking.
Not that far away.
Navia, what was your mother like as a person?
So this is about Navia's mother. Okay.
Oh, Paimon's sorry. She totally forgot that you mentioned before that she passed away during childbirth, so you probably don't remember her at all.
What do you mean probably? There's no probably about it.
That's all right. I've heard many stories about her from the rest of the Spina. They've always said that they were sure we would have gotten along famously. While my papa was stiff like a board, my mother was supposedly super cheerful and funny. Their complementary personalities allowed them to make up for each other's flaws. My father would run the businesses and expand our reach, while my mother would keep the peace and make sure that everyone was happy. Their work made sure that the Spina could grow and thrive.
Sounds like they were not just a well-matched couple, but fantastic business partners as well.
Yeah, but those are just stories and anecdotes after all. It's hard for me to piece together a more complete or intimate picture of her. But sometimes, I'd still look at the Clementine line and wonder, would the Spina and Poisson still be what they are today had my mother survived? Silver once said that a name is a kind of inscription, a way to etch a memory into the world. When given a name, a cold, inanimate object can gain a completely new meaning. So, I will always associate the line with her in my heart. Over the past few weeks, I've also begun to appreciate how water can take in and hold our most intense feelings and memories, as well as how one may reflect on their past by watching the sea. I've lost many beloved people and memories to the sea. Even though I cannot stop for them and must continue to keep moving.
What do you mean you've lost many beloved people and memories to the sea? Didn't only like
Fact won't change that
7
they
people, sorry, it's
existed in
time,
my
I can't
life
stop it.
and
What?
gave me the reason and motivation to move forward.
Didn't they say like only like 6 or 7 people died in the Poisson floods? Silver being one
Always.
of them.
But no
I
matter what,
don't even get time to pick
can't change
anything.
the
This is
past.
why I hate timed travel. But yeah, so how has she lost so many people to the sea? Her dad didn't die to the sea. Her mother didn't die to the sea. It was literally just Silver and a handful of other people
I
at
tell
Poisson.
myself that I need to keep looking towards the future. Everyone, even my parents, have already overcome so many obstacles. Besides, I'm the president of Spina di Rosula. I've got to keep my chin up.
There was plenty of time to get to Poisson. You didn't have to, rush me, damn it.
We've reached the shore. Let's go. I'll show you the new poisson.
I bet you it looks exactly the same as the old poisson. God, you're actually glowy today, Paimon.
Navia,
Look at the difference between the two of us.
do you think she's doing all right?
I mean, she's doing as all right as she can. She seems to be managing. She's always been having to cope with one thing or another. That's overstating the matter.
Okay. Paimon supposes you're right. She's really been through a lot.
Eh.
It couldn't have been easy shouldering so much by herself.
You could also argue that a lot of other people I could name have been through a lot. Enter poisson. You really couldn't have put me in a better location. Am I just jumping down? There is a specific way she wants me to go? No, maybe we're just going in. Okay, where do you want me, Navia? Yeah, it looks exactly the same. It would be so cool though if it had been different. You know, it's been transformed by the redesign. That would have presupposed that it got destroyed more the first time around, and it didn't. It was pretty intact, I'm not gonna lie. It just looks exactly the same as normal.
Boss, you're back! Traveler and Paimon, welcome back to Poisson.
Oh, hey! Fancy seeing you again, Florent. Is it your turn to take care of Navia now?
Hey, I can totally take care of myself. For the time being, I'll go around without any attendance. We did hand over some of Malus's old responsibilities to Florent, though. It's been really nice to have him around to help out.
Thank you for the compliment, boss. As you see, I've been working closely with the boss on rebuilding Poisson. Mr. Malus was an extremely capable and respected member of the Spina. I've got some really big shoes to fill.
Well, he did have, you know, time on his hands. He was a member of the Spina for quite some time. So, you know, I'm sure you will do the same with time.
All right. There's no need to be so formal. Everyone's practically old friends by now. Were you waiting here for me? Did we manage to make any progress on the statue?
Statue of whom?
Yeah, we contacted a sculptor about the job. But they can't get started on sourcing a correctly sized block without knowing the design that we want to use first.
True, because the design would depend on the shape of the block to carve from.
You're commissioning a statue?
So basically, we've been meaning to commission a statue of my parents in commemoration of everything they've done for the Spina and the town of Poisson.
Seems like a frivolous use of money, but okay.
But since my father was known as callously unfaithful for the longest time, it would have been too controversial to commission a statue of him.
Oh, previously, right, okay. But now that his name has been cleared, it's okay.
But now that his name has been cleared, and the town is also being rebuilt, I thought this would be the perfect chance to actually realize this dream.
The funds to build the statue were freely donated by the people of Poisson to show their appreciation for Miss Clementine and Mr. Callis and everything they did.
Hold up. So the people of Poisson are broke because their homes were destroyed. They got a relief payment from the court for damage to their property. They're also getting a handout from Spina de Rosula for their property. And then they decide to go and spend that money, well, donate the money to a statue for the Spina de Rosula. Isn't that just like a waste of your funds that have been given to you for a specific purpose of replacing or repairing your homes? If you were going to then give the money back essentially to the Spina de Rosula, why would the Spina de Rosula not just not give the handout to the people and just put the money straight into the statue? It seems like a really strange circle of exchanging funds when you could have just gone from A to B instead of going from A to B to C to D to E and then back to B. Shouldn't have be featured within them too. No, she's not done that much just yet. Again, it's a time. She needs to have time to really contribute to her society. Doing one thing for them is not statue worthy.
Me? I'm just the newbie president that's running around and causing everyone trouble. Maybe we can have this conversation again in a few decades, once I've done more for the town and the people.
She's in agreement with me.
Hey, there's no need to be so humble. Didn't you just help save the entire country?
It's got nothing to do with being humble, Paimon. One achievement does not a hero make.
I agree wholeheartedly. I also believe that Boss should have a place on the statue.
I don't believe she should.
Hey, if you keep inflating my ego like this, I might just float off into the sky with my parasol. Just kidding. There's no way that I'd accept that kind of compliment at face value. At a minimum, I'd have to match what my father did for the people.
I wholeheartedly agree. Well, if that's what you think, I think I'll just be a matter of time. No, if that's what you think.
Thanks for the vote of confidence.
I didn't say I had
I
one.
just don't think I'm ready yet.
I didn't think you were either.
Anyway, Florent, now it's up to us to confirm the final design, right?
We can ask the sculptor to start looking for a good block once we've decided on the poses for Miss Clementine and Mr. Callis.
Could you not have done that before you requisitioned to the sculptor? So he could get, like, started immediately?
But we haven't had any real discussions yet on the possible designs. I feel like I should get a few promising designs first, and then send them over to you to review.
Again, should you not have done this before you conscripted the sculptor?
There's no need for all that. Let's decide on a design right now. Hey, you, come over here with me.
Hey, you! Bitch, please. Don't even try that with me. Or me?
Modeling a few poses, of course. Here, just pretend to be Callis, and I'll be Clementine.
Except for the fact that I didn't know either person, and I cannot strike a pose that would represent either. Why are the young people having this conversation? Can we please get some old people who actually knew Callis and Clementine? Where's Silver? Can he not pitch in? Although, I don't know if he was old enough necessarily either.
Didn't you say on the boat that Callis and Clementine sounded like great partners? Well, then there's no one better to fill this role than my most valuable partner.
Again, I don't know their personalities and mannerisms to make a statue pose.
Florent, let's grab some reference shots.
You've got it, boss. I'll go get the camera.
I've got 2 of them, just use mine. Okay, I've got 3. 4 if you count Charlotte.
Well, what do you think? Got any ideas?
Shouldn't you be running this show?
Well, I've actually discussed it a bit with Florent before, but I could never come up with any fresh or original ideas. It's probably because my idea of them is already kind of set in stone.
It's like I'm beating my head against a brick wall. If you want to pose commemorating somebody, they have to be... Sorry, if you want a statue commemorating somebody, they have to be in a pose that represents them. You can't just give like this really random pose and have it be absolutely nothing like what they would do in real life. Get somebody who knew them.
So, I want to pick your brain for a bit and see if you can come up with some new and interesting ideas.
I'm all good here, boss. Feel free to start posing whenever.
This is just awkward. I started thinking I'm posing, looking out into the distance. Why don't we just strike a happy pose? I don't know these people.
By that, do you mean as if we were standing on a boat and looking out at the sea?
You know, it doesn't help that you're playing the woman and you're taller
Let's
than me.
give that a try.
That looks awkward. Let's not do that.
Whoa, you really remind Paimon of a captain and their first mate. Look over there, my dear Clementine. As you can see, every tree on that island is dripping with mora fruit.
But there's something off with the composition. This pose makes Mr. Callis look too tall next to the lady.
I just said the opposite. Wasn't I playing the male? It makes me look too short compared to the lady.
Oh, I see what you mean. Then let's swap.
There you go. Although, I would say in this particular instance, Clementine looks ridiculous. And you should be looking off into the distance, damn it.
Well, Paimon is a fan.
I'm
A
not.
statue like this would look fantastic on a boat.
It's terrible.
Wait, but we can't do that. Very few people would see the statue if we were to put it on a boat. This statue is meant to be placed in the town.
But then, since we're putting it in the town, the whole point of the pose would be lost.
Oh, okay. We'll try to think of something else.
Happy.
A happy pose? You mean something like we were laughing together at a funny joke?
No, because that would look weird on a statue. Yeah, that looks ridiculous. Who would want that on a statue?
Would all that be able to come through
Right.
with just a picture?
Oh, it's not a picture, it's a sculpture. Can't we just smile at each other? Looking at each other with affection? I don't
Would
know.
we even
I don't
be
know,
able to
Camus,
tell
Kelson,
what they're
Clementine.
supposed to be laughing about?
Yeah, and that'd probably be a massive pain to sculpt as well.
Could one of you try striking a pose pose like you're talking while the other one laughs?
Why can't you just look affectionate?
That actually sounds pretty hard to pull off. Forget it, let's try something else.
They're all stupid
Imposing,
options.
huh? Oh, I've got it. Let's try this.
Now you just look smug, Navia.
This pose! It makes me recall Spina di Rasula's glorious golden age.
I don't like the two of them are posing the same. I want asymmetrical poses.
But isn't Clementine's pose a bit too bold and heroic? Was she really that kind of person?
That's what I keep saying.
If we were to stick with this pose, maybe people would wonder if she was actually the real boss behind the scenes.
Well, tabloids did indeed speculate as much back in the day, but the Spina pulled a few strings and made both the report and the journalist disappear.
That seems like an oversight for somebody just doing their job.
Oh, Paimon was just kidding! Please don't make Paimon disappear.
What Florent meant was that we asked the journalist to choose a new alias.
Why?
You're right, though, that this may
That
not
seems
accurately
overkill.
represent the image of her in our hearts. Let's try to come up with something else.
Told you that since the beginning.
We tried a bunch of different ideas, but none of them felt right. Paimon's all out of brain juice now, too.
Oh, don't worry. We still got a lot of reference shots out of the session, and each of them can be considered to be a souvenir in their own right. Let's just keep the ideas we tried as backups. Man, if I knew I was going to do a photo shoot with the Traveler, I would have prepared a lot of outfits and props ahead of time. Oh, outfits! Ugh, that's the errand I forgot back in the city. Do either of you still remember that girl? The girl I went to see with you two. Her name is Adele.
Nope. No memory of this person whatsoever.
Oh, Paimon remembers her. She was the one that we met while investigating Mr. Callus's case, right?
I don't remember. She always believed that her father Jacques was a good person.
Yes, that's exactly who I'm talking
I mean,
about.
that part I remember.
So
I don't remember the
after
person,
case,
though.
She was finally willing to talk to me, and she told me that she wanted to join the Spina too. I said that it's fine, but young children are not allowed to join the Spina. She will just have to wait a few years, and then we'll welcome her with open arms. Since she's still a child, though, she thought I was just trying to let her down gently.
Does she live under the city? I do not remember this at all.
But how could I get her to believe that I meant what I said? In the end, I came up with an idea. I'd have a Spina uniform made and give it to her as a gift.
For her to wear as a child when she's not old enough to be part of the Spina. Doesn't that feel like putting salt in the wounds?
But I got so busy and distracted in the city that I forgot to pick the uniform up. So I did forget something important after all.
Of course you did. It's scatterbrained.
Don't worry, boss. I can send someone to pick it up right away.
On the matter of the statue, we should still come up with a few more ideas for the design. I'll have to trouble you to source some for me.
We could have just done that from the start.
I'm with Paimon on this one. Hey, at least I've got some cool pictures.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. They'll have some value as souvenirs at least.
Do you plan on selling them?
Navia! Florent, guess who's
Coulter.
back?
Have we met a Coulter before?
Huh? But aren't you supposed to...
Oh, well, if it isn't Coulter. Back already from the Fortress of Meripede?
I don't remember this guy.
That's right. I finally finished serving my time. Gotta say, turns out I was a lot tougher than I thought. After I got out, I immediately made a beeline back to Poisson. You could say that familiar, briny smell became a primal call, urging me to forget everything else and just come back home.
Just so you know, sir, I know firsthand that the Fortress of Meripede isn't really a place of punishment, so don't know why you need to be stronger than you thought. You just kind of play around and bide your time.
You wouldn't believe how much I've missed Melissa's grilled fish. I dreamed about it every time I had to get a welfare meal down there underneath the sea.
Did Melissa die?
It's good to have you back, Coulter.
No?
You
Okay.
look as well as ever.
And this guy
Okay,
is...
thank God I don't know this guy. Wonderful. I was like, I just don't know anything. What am I forgetting?
Let me introduce you. This is Coulter, another of Spina di Rosula's members. He was found guilty and sentenced to the Fortress of Meripede some time ago.
What was he found guilty of, exactly?
But, looking at it now, it was probably another one of Marcel's plots while he worked at the Confrérie of Cabrières.
Okay.
Wait, Mr. Marcel. What do you mean? He was involved in some sort of plot?
I thought you got information down at the fortress. Apparently not.
Have you not heard anything at all about the water from the primordial sea case?
Well, I know that Fontaine got flooded, but then the water levels miraculously receded.
Yeah, in 2 seconds
I
flat.
thought that was all there was to it and didn't care to ask for any more details. Do you mean Mr. Marcel was somehow involved with all that?
Oh, looks like we'll have to explain everything from the top. That case, a lot of things have happened in Poisson since then. First things first, let me introduce you to these two. They're my most trusted partners, and they've been with me through thick and thin. Now you could call them Spina di Rosula's VIP helpers.
Oh, nice to meet you. I don't recall Navia ever generously complimenting anyone like that before. So you must be pretty amazing to get that from her.
Yeah, we are indeed pretty amazing. But we've been cool since before we even met her.
We just followed Navia's lead.
Humble again, as always.
I didn't really have much of an
say.
option. I wasn't going to thank
Even when I
Paimon
was
for it.
totally sincere with my praise.
Nice. Spina di Rosula always seems to attract great people. Oh, that reminds me. Where are Malus and Silver? Aren't they always by your side?
About that.
Coulter, a lot of things happened while you were gone. As you can see, even Poisson isn't quite the
Looks
same
identical to me.
as how it was before you left.
They lost their lives, keeping me safe during the flood.
I thought only one died. Clearly my memory is faulty. Looks like both of them died.
What did you say? This isn't some kind of morbid welcome home prank, right? You're just scaring me on purpose because I don't know anything about what's happened.
I'm sorry, but it's the truth.
Hey, told him Melissa died.
They weren't the only people we lost either. Many others, including Melissa, also lost their lives in the disaster.
She says many, but again, I thought it was a really tiny number of people who died back in Poisson.
Malus and Melissa, dead. They're just gone?
That is how death does its bidding.
Malus. I was planning to give him a surprise gift once I ran into him again in town. I can't believe it.
Hey, keep it together.
Malus and Coulter were friends for many years, and even served on many missions together during the early days of the Spina. I can understand how he feels.
I'm feeling like this story quest is lacking direction. Instead of being like a streamlined, coherent story that has a point, it feels like we're just muddling through Poisson with like lots of loose threads, and we're just doing this, and this. And that's kind of it. Nothing is important in what we're doing now. Nothing stands out. Nothing is a great story moment. It's just kind of meh, like boring daily life at Poisson. It's not a very interesting story quest. I don't think it has a story at all. So I hope it picks up. Otherwise, this is super boring.
Let's sit down somewhere, so I can tell you everything that has happened while you were gone. Fair warning, there was a lot.
Okay.
Talk to Coulter. Up there, or like up? Gonna see up here. I get vegetables from a fish display. Doesn't make much sense. I'm almost here, Coulter. Navia explains everything that has happened recently to Coulter.
All of this, it's unbelievable. I can't believe that those stories were real. It all really happened. Has the world gone mad?
Had I not personally experienced all these events, I would have also found them very difficult to accept.
I think you and I both feel the same way about the profound tragedy of Malus's loss. And the sheer depravity of Marcel's actions.
I thought Mr. Marcel would always stand by the Spina. Everything he had, the Spina gave to him. It's unconscionable to have received all that, and yet still plot to kidnap and dissolve you for his insane research.
The good news is that the Confrérie of Cabriere is no more. Gone with them too is the entire synth manufacturing and distribution network. We finally closed the curtain on that long struggle.
Are you sure? But if Marcel wanted to rebel against us, he probably sent word in secret to Romeu.
Rome who?
How is that word pronounced Romeu? There's an F.
Not a name I've heard before either.
Florent should remember him. You see, there was once a major internal dispute regarding funding the construction of the Aquabus lines. Romeu was the leader of the faction that thought such a vast sum of mora would be better spent improving the town of Poisson.
I agree.
But Mr. Callis believed that an opportunity to collaborate with the court of Fontaine and the Fontaine Research Institute was hard to come by, and would allow us to build many valuable relationships.
I misunderstood. I thought he meant the fourth line. Instead of creating a fourth line to Poisson, you'd better off putting the money into the town. He meant for any of the lines. Okay, no, I disagree there.
Not only would the Aquabus be a good business investment, it would also boost our reputation among the general populace, eventually paying us massive dividends down the line. But the two couldn't come to an agreement. Romeu ended up taking a lot of people with him when he left Spino di Rosula altogether, and the split was on extremely bad terms.
And with Papa's stubbornness, I can definitely imagine how it must have gone down.
And of course, when he was suffering the slings and arrows of outrageous injustice, those relationships that he spent a fortune to build didn't help in the least.
Can you not? If you're going to quote Shakespeare, at least do the full phrase. Don't just use parts of the phrase. It just sounds weird. It should be the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, not injustice. Pah. Hamlet laughs at you.
Yeah, you could say it was the price he paid for sticking to his beliefs.
That couldn't have been the first time a dispute like that happened, right? I thought I was going to say that couldn't have been the first time he'd, paid a price for sticking to his beliefs. I'm like, yeah, sounds about right, but no, dispute.
Oh, that's a good point. If Callis was really as stubborn as you say, then wouldn't he have argued with the rank and file all the time?
Wow. I wonder how the rank and file like being called that, Paimon.
Oh yeah, it eventually became a thing that just happened on every day that ended with Y. But Navia, boss, you might not know this, but he wasn't always like that.
He was such a sweetheart when Clementine was alive. Yeah, we hear this story all the time.
He used to be a lot better with taking counsel. With him listening to our advice, and Ms. Clementine also frequently on our side, it was pretty smooth sailing for a good many years. But on the matter of the Aquabus, even Ms. Clementine completely stood by Mr. Callis' side.
I never knew. But from my perspective, Romeu's position had a lot going for it. Couldn't they have sat down and talked it out?
Well, not really, because you can't compromise. There really is only one option or the other.
I think the Aquabus was just the straw that broke the camel's back. On that topic, they eventually came to a rather radical conclusion.
There are no Callis in this game.
They believed that Miss Clementine lost her ability to serve as an impartial mediator when she became pregnant with Callis's child.
Why? Why is spawning with the man making her more impartial than just being married to the man? I don't understand your degrees of impartiality.
So, they thought she had betrayed them?
By reproducing. Again, was she not married to the man? Or did they just suddenly decide to have a child together with no, relationship visible to the public prior to that?
But that doesn't make any sense. Before she was their mediator, My mother was also her own person, and a member of the Spina. She should have the right to take any side she wished.
Yeah, but to them, even taking a side was betrayal enough. They felt like their voices could no longer be heard once their sole mediator had gone over to the other side. Of course, Ms. Clementine then passed away, and Mr. Callis began to regard the completion of the Aquabus project as her final wish. With that, the last hope of reconciliation was gone.
I would have thought it would have brought them closer together, that Romeo, or whatever the fuck you're calling him, would have, even though he doesn't want the Aquabus, and he feels betrayed by her no longer being the mediator, he could also have seen that that was her last wish, pretty much, and helped finish the project. Wow, people are so stubborn.
So that's what happened.
From that point on, Romeo and his people cut ties with the Spina, and never gave us any kind of professional or personal courtesy ever again.
Okay, so where have they been for the last X number of years? I have no idea how old Navia is. Probably younger than I suppose it'll be, because every bloody person in this game is younger than I think they should be. So how has she not heard of them? Do they just not function as a business anymore?
Perhaps they've regarded us as enemies ever since they left. But even so, there is still no proof that they ever acted in concert with Marcel.
I've also heard that they aren't in a good financial position, so they've been lying low for a while. But as long as they exist, they'll continue to be a threat.
Except they haven't been a threat for X number of years? Because no one's ever heard of them?
Huh.
Do they even have a name?
Coulter's got a point. Both Marcel and Romeo had my father in their sights for a very long time. Even though Marcel's faction has been dissolved, we still don't know anything about Romeo's whereabouts. If they're still trying to get revenge on us,
They had many years in which to do it.
with how distracted and vulnerable we are, now would be the best time.
Good thinking, boss. We should keep an eye on them at all times. I'll let my men know right away.
You don't even know what they are. You don't even know who they are.
Thank you for that, Florent. And Coulter, thank you for telling me about this as well.
Don't worry, it's nothing. Do you have a moment right now? How about we go out for a walk? I've heard so many incredulous things today. I'm finding it a bit hard to calm down even now. I mean, to think that I'll just never see them again.
And then it turns out that Coulter is secretly Romeo. Although why nobody would recognize him as such, I don't know. And he's going to kidnap Navia.
In that case, why don't we go back to the court? I can pick up Adele's uniform while we're there as well. It'll save Laurent's guys a trip. Want to come with me again, you two? You don't mind, do you, Coulter?
Oh, of course. That's fine by me.
Is it though? Is it? And that's why he hasn't gotten his revenge. He's been in the fortress of Meropide this entire time. My plan does actually make sense, except for the recognition part. I'm a bit iffy on that front.
Then let's go! Paimon feels like a lot's hinging on this visit.
I don't think a child's uniform that they won't even wear as a Spina Duracilla member is really considered important enough to be, hinging on this visit, but okay. We want to see Adele cheer up. I don't care about Adele, I don't remember her. We want to see the future star of the Spina. Really? Those are my only options? You overestimate the importance of his child.
We really are the best of partners. Come on, let's go.
You weren't really convincing with that, Navia. Relax with Coulter as you head to the Quarter Fontaine. Yeah, now that I'm thinking he's a traitor, I don't really see much relaxing going on. It's gonna be more like stress. When is he gonna betray me? Well, not me. Although he may have to get rid of me to get to Navia, so...